Recording. Oh.
Okay, everybody, welcome back. This is the Geek Authority and Holzheimer's Distribution Show once again. As you can see, we've got lots of guests today, and as usual, we're talking about fandom and conventions and all kinds of fun things. MaryLee, I think you're over here on my screen, and I have invited some guests. So let's do a little introduction. Let's start with Steve. Steve, you are?
Hi, I'm Steve Kostka. I'm a big Doctor Who fan. I've been attending conventions since 1975 until all the way of last year, and haven't missed a year of going to any Doctor Who convention.
Yeah, Gallifrey One you're referring to, right?
Starting with Gallifrey One here in LA, and then the Visions back in Chicago.
From Chicago to LA and in between.
And then also for Star Trek, there was I believe it was Her Majesty's Entertainment, if I'm not mistaken. And it used to have a lot of the new, and correct me if I'm wrong, used to have a lot of the new generation folks.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Back in the day when they were on the air live. Yeah. New episodes.
Okay. And then we have Stephanie, which is over here.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Murphy. I've been going to conventions for a little over 10 years. I attended one, and then I just started volunteering, and now I work with vendors, and I go all over the states. From Chicago to California to Florida, Seattle, a little bit of everywhere.
Okay, and Paul.
Hello, I'm Digital Paul. I'm moving back and forth through your screen, and I apologize for that bad video. My wife and I have been attending conventions since 2007. Started with Stargate, expanded into, you name it, we've done it. We've made up for lost time over the years and have attended as many as 20 conventions in a year ever since. So we know MaryLee very well.
Very cool. So
Thank you all for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much. We're all collectors, myself included, as you know, and MaryLee is a vendor, so she gets all my goodies. And obviously, these people have traveled all over the country for various reasons and collectible items. Let's start with the traveling aspect of the fandom. How do you guys describe the experience? Especially like Steve going from Chicago to LA, different conventions, and Stephanie and Paul. How is that experience for you as a collector?
I'll go ahead and start. For me as a collector, I remember I started collecting Star Trek was the first thing I started collecting. And I just mainly got signatures. And then kind of as the conventions grew, more people attended, I started collecting more of the toys, the action figures, spaceships, and then went into Doctor Who. So I got a fairly large collection of figurines, models, and so forth. So as that whole fandom base grew, I think my collection grew with it.
Stephanie?
Well, traveling everywhere. I mean, you meet a lot of different people. I first started going to like Walker Stalker conventions. So I was big on collecting with Walking Dead and anything horror. The horror movies like Pennywise and Freddy Krueger and stuff like that, I'll always collect that stuff. So being able to travel to all different cities, meet other people, vendors, different artists, my collection has grown exponentially to where I think I need a bigger house.
I've heard that before.
Okay. I have every collector I've heard.
me included. Paul?
Yeah, the first experience that it was a creation event. It was in Chicago. We drove down to meet a specific actor, and lo and behold, they held an auction. And boy, it was downhill from there. That auction was photographs, and then I found MaryLee as a vendor, and she had more unique photographs. And then about 3 years later, we were at the Trek Vegas convention, and there was the people who were doing that auction when they were auctioning off all the Battlestar Galactica and Star Trek, the experience stuff. But they had this catalog of all the Stargate stuff they were going to auction, and then we got into props, and boy, you really don't have enough your house is never big enough for props, that's for sure.
Wow. So Stargate is your go-to?
Our passion started with Stargate, but we've moved through. I'm a Trekkie. I watched the original series in '66 through '68. Live long and prosper. both ways. And the Trek collectibles are so expensive and hard to find, but Stargate was sort of a magic thing for us. It took us from one phase of our life to another phase in a very positive manner. And when the opportunity came to actually buy a piece of the Stargate, lo and behold, you never know that you really didn't need that new car until you saw the Stargate.
So you've got the Stargate or a piece of it or what?
Yeah, we actually own through the PropWorks auctions. We were able to procure a piece of Atlantis, and it was just magic. It happened, and we could afford it, and because we don't have any children, it was just us, and we're at a point where we were traveling and doing this stuff, and poof, and then all of a sudden, the Universe Gate became available. So, well, we had to try and get that one. And then at the end, the SG1 gate came available, and so we have one of each.
Dare I ask what kind of prices?
They're in the mid four figures. They're not. They probably range between $3,000 and $5,000 each. That's what we were able to get them at. Now we don't do this as an investment thing. If you can go online, you can find the prices, the actual hammer prices on the stuff. And yeah, it's sizable. But like I said, we literally put off the purchase of a new car for 10 years to fund that. And the one is above it's our headboard, the SG1 gate. We reach up, and it's pretty exciting. It's pretty
nice.
Yeah.
I would imagine they're very well displayed.
Yeah, we have one in the Atlantis is in the living room. SG1's up in the as the headboard, and then up in the office here we have Universe. It's covered with Doctor Who creatures, though. All this stuff. There's a stuffed 11. My wife is she's a huge 11 fan, so we can appreciate Daryl's passion, and it's been an adventure, but we just love it. We've had a great time.
Wow. So you see, folks, collecting is part of this experience, and you may not realize it, but you see something you like a particular show, and it could range from the Muppets to Stargate or whatever. And when you go to these conventions or any of the smaller events even, you will plan on spending some stuff if you want to get some really cool stuff. Now, the degree at which they're collecting, these are actual props or set pieces, they're definitely going to cost a lot of money, but then again, you're the only one with it. So that's the real upside. Let's talk about autographs. I know, Steve, you've got a few autographs, or 500.
Yeah, I got a ton of them. I haven't counted. Probably close to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, great.
So how did you? Who are they, and where did you find them? How'd you get them?
Yeah, got them all through conventions. I got pretty much all of the Next Generation Star Trek. Almost all the original people from Star Trek. I think the only one I'm missing was Dr. McCoy. That was it.
Of course, Kelly.
And I don't know if anybody remembers Red Dwarf.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Program. But they actually came to some of the Doctor Who conventions, believe it or not, in Chicago for maybe about 2 or 3 years, and got some of their autographs also. And then the rest of them have just been from Gallifrey. Had went when it was always in Van Nuys, and I think some of the first attendees in there. I remember it was actually under 300 people at the time.
Oh yeah.
Was it Airtel Hotel, if I recall the name correctly?
Yep.
Oh yeah. And then
amazing to grow to 4,000 people from under 200. But just started getting the autographs one at a time, and
now I know also, because I do this as well. Besides autographs, we also try and get pictures with them. They also have photo opportunities. That's always fun. And for those who don't know, sometimes at these conventions, not only can get an autograph, but you sign up and pay for a photo opportunity where you get to take your picture with them. So that's always fun. How about you, Stephanie? You said you have lots of autographs?
I have a few 4-inch binders that are filled with all the autographs. I have almost the entire Walking Dead cast, Supernatural, Once Upon a Time, and any of the actors from like older movies. So like John Cusack and like Freddie Prinze Jr., like stuff from like my generation of when I was younger. I totally fangirl over that when I go to conventions. Like the biggest one that I probably fangirled on was Robert Englund.
I was just going to say, do you have Robert Englund? Because he's like,
Oh yes.
he's my ultimate. Freddie.
Oh yeah. I got him at Motor City Comic Con. It was one of the first ones that I attended. I didn't know about photo ops and stuff then, so I didn't get a picture with him because he wasn't doing selfies at the table. But I at least got his autograph, and it was totally worth it.
Can I tell you, my first autograph of him was not because I loved him, which I do as Freddy Krueger, but as in V, when he was the innocent alien. V was one of my favorite shows when I was in high school, and I got a chance to meet him, and I got him in the autograph in the red suit and everything with the glasses. So yes, it's fandom goes over decades. She's a little younger than me, so. Paul, do you have autographs, or you just stick to props?
Oh no, we have autographs. The great thing about autographs is they're easy to ship. The bad part about props is when you buy this thing and then you got to send it across the country, and it costs you more to send it than you paid for it. That's the killer there. But autographs, you put them in your binder, right? And I got a question for Stephanie and Daryl. Is it the autograph itself or the memory you have of watching the person autograph it and that interaction? That's what we carry with us. I mean, that's what we have found. We look at the autograph and it takes us right back to that place. Is that the experience you two have?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and at a lot of conventions, you can get selfies with them. So I always want to get a selfie with them when I get the autograph, because then it's that extra memory when you're going through the binders and the whole flashback of being able to talk to Robert Englund for 20 minutes.
All right. Just for that, look at this. Perfect timing. Check this out, everyone. Steve?
Yeah.
That's Steve. I don't know. Who are you getting an autograph from? That's Daryl, his wife.
It's my wife over there. I'm not sure who that is, to be honest with you.
Gordon Byrne Gordon.
Oh, from Torchwood.
The Torchwood. Yeah, that's the other one that I loved a lot, was Torchwood. Yeah, it was one of my favorite shows for I think it lasted 3 seasons.
Yeah, kind of 2.5 actually.
2.5, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then I have the two of you. This is them at Gallifrey One. I think you're in the front row or close to it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Well, now you are bringing back memories.
I thought I'd surprise you with that. And she just brought up, when you get the opportunity to meet the celebrities or get their autographs, that's how close you are. Yeah. And sometimes they do selfies, sometimes they don't. The photo ops are better because they sometimes provide a nice background via green screen, whatever show they're from, or just a regular, photo, nice studio picture.
But I agree 100% with Stephanie. I'm the same way. It does bring back the memory when you look at it from years back, and you have that personal touch where you were there in the photo with the person. It's fun. Brings back good times and good memories.
So Daryl, how many of the doctors do you have autographs of? Do you have all how many?
I have. I don't have William Hartnell or Troughton, and then I have all the rest of them.
Wow, good for you. That's amazing.
You have a Jody?
No, I mean, other than the new one. Yeah, her I don't have yet. Yeah. I did buy the other ones. I just bought like David Tennant and some of the other ones, but I did not get Jodie Foster yet. That's my next one to get.
Jodie Whittaker.
Or Jodie Whittaker, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm sure Jodie Foster doesn't mind. The other thing too is this year, one of the new doctors came to Gallifrey in February, this past February, and we got doctor number 9, which was cool.
Yeah.
Christopher Eccleston. So
yeah, he was missing in action for a long time.
Oh yeah, and he was a great person. He worked with the fans. He was great with the kids, and that's the kind of thing I like, because I do a lot of behind the scenes and reporting when I go to these conventions and interviewing, and it's always disappointing when certain celebrities get kind of, not fun, and that's a nice way of putting it. But okay, because you guys obviously collect, you got autographs and whatever. what advice would you give to people who have never gone to a convention and or are considering collecting? I mean, is there any advice that in hindsight you say, oh God, I wish I would have known that, or whatever? Anything? Anybody?
I'd say collect what you like. Don't worry about the value of it or if you can resell it. Collect it because you enjoy it for your, for your office, for your, home, whatever, and have fun. Just enjoy it, and don't worry about what other people are collecting or what somebody likes or doesn't like. If you like it, enjoy it, buy it, get into it, meet other people through that, and
That's a key. That's a key. We'll get
I,
back to that.
I think part of the collecting is, going and meeting people, like yourself and Michael Lorenzo. I look forward to going and seeing you guys every year when we.
Absolutely. The same people show up and you have the same interests. How about you, Stephanie? What do you think?
What do you think? What do you think is key?
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Yeah, that advice. What would you give?
Take lots of pictures, because if you don't, you're going to regret it after a show. Because if you spend your whole time walking around and just looking at everything, you're going to regret not taking all the pictures you can, talking to all the other fellow fans, vendors. And if you're planning ahead of time, save a lot of money. Whether you tell yourself you're only spending a little bit, always bring twice as much, at least.
Best advice.
Because I always tell myself a little bit, and then I spend a lot of it.
Absolutely true.
Oh, yeah.
Paul?
Yeah, I think both of those are really good. The budget, stay within your budget. Don't buy stuff you can't afford because you're going to go home and you think, oh, well, I can sell it for that much. Don't buy something you like. It doesn't matter if it's a Lego character of somebody, if it's one autograph. Get something that means something to you. Exactly. Don't be brought in, oh, it's not a competition. It's about your passion for, there's nothing better than going, and I'm going to pick on MaryLee here because we always make some time to go through her photos. She has some really unique photos of people in very interesting positions. And you go, where did you get this? Right? So it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It costs you a lot to get in some days, right? So I go with minimal ticket, find, scope out the area. Sometimes things are on sale. The great part about doing these all over the country is the price points move around. Like in LA, Gallifrey is the most expensive place to buy a lot of Doctor Who stuff. But if you go to Dragon Con and you look around, sometimes there's things that are cheaper. But if you go to a Star Trek convention, sometimes it's off to the side and much cheaper. So the more of them you do, you can sort of bargain shop. But if you're there for the experience, if you get to do one a year, if you get to do Motor City Comic Con, save your money. Just like Stephanie said, find that person you want to go see. But also, sometimes if you're so focused on one person, and the experience isn't good because the lines were too long or they had to cancel or they raised the price, you can turn you off of a con in a hurry. So make sure that you give it a chance to enjoy all the things that are going on around you. Sometimes the B actors are the best people. They're just they'll become friends of yours over time because they like, hey, look, you came back. Do you want an autograph? Sure, why not? So, yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Sometimes the best people are the people you meet in line or other, some of the best people I've met are people who come and buy stuff from me all the time. And I would never have said that, when I started back in the day, So sometimes it's a matter of being open to meeting everybody and not just that one person.
And I'm curious.
That's a good point. That's where I met Lorenzo. And it was basically in line, standing there, start talking to him. And now I've known him for, several years.
A lot of years. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of years. No, that's what I was just going to point out. If you're in line, like Paul was saying, and it's going to be 45 minutes, hour and a half, 3 hours at Comic-Con, if you've ever been to Comic-Con, talk to your fellow fans. Like Steve said, that's how we met. You might have shared interest, or the best part is sometimes they know information that you didn't know that would make your experience better or something you want to see. And keying on what Paul said is do the research. If you're going to go to a convention, check out the website. If they have a manual, you can download a program you can download. Check it out, read it through, look what's there. You might not just be, you know, Walking Dead is there. You might find, you know, Stargate is there, and you're like, oh, cool, let's check them both out. Or you have a backup. So you can't get to Stargate. Well, you've got The Walking Dead, whatever. You've got your whole full interest there, and talking to people is the key.
Well, sometimes too, it's talking to other people because you don't, you know, I can't tell you how many times Stephanie's like, and that guy was in One Tree Hill, right? How many times have you said that to me? And I'm like, he was? Okay. You know, so.
Yeah, he totally was. And I totally want that autograph.
And so all of a sudden you're like, you know, trying to help somebody fulfill their goal, but also you're meeting other fans from something else. So, you know what I mean? You don't realize.
Sometimes you'll find another fandom that you just all of a sudden fall in love with. Like recently we found the Magicians because Hale Appleman was at Starfest about, I don't know, 3-4 years ago. And he's so nice. He's such an incredible individual. And I started watching that show and I couldn't stop. Oh my God, it's a crazy show. So Harry Potter for adults, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's what you like.
Yeah.
So
it's all because you're open to a new experience or a new conversation. I mean,
it's all due to you, MaryLee.
Oh, great. Now I'm in trouble.
Uh-oh.
But, you know, it's something new that you were like, oh, I'm not going to watch that. And all of a sudden, there you are watching it. And it's as great as your other love. So, got to be open to everything.
So I got to ask, so what has been your best or most favorite, memorable, however you want to phrase it, meeting experience with a celebrity of your favorite thing? Like Stephanie, you talked about Once Upon a Time and Walking Dead. I mean, has there been one fan meeting or celebrity meeting experience that stands out?
I mean, there's a lot of different ones. There was a supernatural convention. My friend gave me a Misha photo op for free. He gave it to me as a gift for working hard, and meeting him, like, he was so nice, and going into the photo op, you got a huge hug and he talked to you. Like, there was no rushing. I mean, it was really nice, and it's one of those memorable conventions that I'll never forget it. And at those smaller shows, I've made my long-lasting friends from that, not even just as fellow volunteers, but as attendees. When you're working registration, they come to you for everything. So now I have 100 different friends in all different states just from working one convention.
Very cool. Very cool. Paul, any?
Most of my favorite interactions are watching my wife with her favorite actors, particularly when she first met Matt Smith in St. Louis Wizard World. And it was the most unbelievable thing to watch because he's such a special character in both of our lives, but particularly my wife's life. And he's just so genuine, and he's, you know, he took the sonic screwdriver and pointed it at the camera, and the giddiness that you share, you know, and then the next person comes off, and there's that like 3 to 5 minutes afterwards where you're having this sort of giddiness fest, you know? Yeah. That's been my favorite experience. I mean, I've had some amazing photo ops with various people. And the actors sometimes they'll work with you. If it's not a real rush line, you can sort of put yourself into situations. Periodically, I'll wear a tie just to, you know, to sort of make them feel better about the event, right? You know, they're usually dressed up a little bit, and so you stroll in and you have one of them like yank on your tie, and the other one's like trying to pull you away from them, and before you know it, you've got this. There you are with 3 of these actors, you know, in this very interesting photograph that will never happen again. So those are fun.
Very cool. Okay, Steve.
Yeah. For me, I think it was meeting Tom Baker. That was the first Doctor that I watched on PBS TV when it was on there, and when he came to the convention, and he actually went through a line, handed out autographs, and shook people's hands. That's probably my biggest highlight. Being the first Doctor, I always liked him. I thought he was still my favorite, and that was kind of my highlight.
Very good. MaryLee, do you want to throw one in from the vendor side?
Well, you know, I was running an event in Chicago, a Torchwood event, and John got hurt really bad. He couldn't fly. So Peter Winkle came in, who's from Highlander, and he's done some other stuff. And he's doing photo ops. And some of the girls were like, okay, whatever. But it was free for everybody. So I walk away and I come back and I'm looking at the pictures as they're coming out. And here are two girls wrapped around him like it's a romance novel cover. And I just started busting up. I was like, oh, I mean, he was just so willing to be a part of the event, and the girls loved it because they had always wanted to do that. So there's a girl on each of his leg, and I'm like, first I was like, oh my god, and then I was like, oh, it's Peter. He had a great time. And afterwards he was like, I had a blast. Can we do that every time? And I'm like, as much as you want, you know. So the next two photo ops were romance covers, like draping. He's holding one girl and she's bending over, and just stuff you can't do when the convention's really busy or big like a Comic-Con. So that was
Wow.
one of the best things that I remember from a convention or event where there was a lot of fan interaction.
Yeah, I'll throw out two quick ones. For me, the most recent was seeing Christopher Eccleston at Gallifrey One here in Los Angeles. And what it was not so much, I mean, he was great when I took the pictures with him and talked to him a little bit. But it's one of these things where you see the person, not the actor. And it was a situation where waiting in line for a photo op. And a lady came in, they had the handicap go first. So she was in a wheelchair, and obviously she was having mobility issues. And he literally stopped what he was doing, got over to the wheelchair, assisted her out of the chair, made sure the chair was, was on the photo, make sure she got the balance right, and you want to lean on me. I was just totally, I'm getting all watery eyed. I was totally blown away by his sensitivity to the whole thing. And the reverse was true. They took the photo, everything was done. She got her in the chair, made sure she got her way out the door, got her personal stuff. And I'm like, there's assistants to do all this stuff that he was doing, but he did it himself. And that was like, oh my God, he's a human being and I like him. The other experience is the wild and crazy. Like she was talking about John Barrowman not showing there, but most photo opportunities at Gallifrey One specifically, he will do anything you want in the picture. He announces, I will do anything I want to say right away if you want to do anything crude or lewd or whatever, because he's obviously an openly gay man and he's willing to touch and pull and push or whatever you want. And I tell you, he's the kind of guy that has so much with the fans, and he literally will do anything for the photo. So those are two experiences where watching him do that was more interesting than obviously having the photo is great, but it was just watching these stars, be people and care about people and have fun with people. That's the kind of experiences I enjoy the most. So, okay, that's my 2 cents.
When John was at my booth the second time, he was making up some photo ops and that, and he has a chocolate addiction. I'm sure it's no secret. And he shoved like 3 pieces of chocolate in his mouth and turned around when these girls were talking about horror stuff, and he started talking and chocolate flowed from his mouth. And all these girls are like, and I'm like, he's giving you a photo op. Come on, ladies. And so all of a sudden they're all standing next to him taking pictures. It was probably the best photo op ever because he didn't expect me to go, here, take a photo with him. But he had fun. He ran with it. So yeah, some actors are really great about making the convention and the photo op wonderful. You just don't realize it.
Right. Wow. Nice little stories. Anything anybody else want to add to the fan experience, conventions, collecting, anything at all?
I'll add that beyond all the stuff, material gains and meeting the actors, and Stephanie hit this. If you volunteer once, you get a lot of interaction in a hurry. But it took us over time. We have made our best friends at conventions. We don't go to conventions for the actors anymore. Like this past weekend we were supposed to have the Stargate in Chicago weekend, and we missed it so much. We actually did the virtual online stuff that Creation did with the actors, but we created on our dining room table a Lego setup of the whole Creation thing. We've known it so long, right? They had the little banners, and throughout the weekend we would have people introduced on stage, and we would ship it out on Facebook to our friends, and it just brought us all together on Facebook for a while. And those friends are so dear and so amazing. And that's what, the COVID thing is just killing me for the not being able to see my friends more than the cons themselves. I mean, The cons are a reason to get together. Some people party, some people, just do the cosplay stuff, but, just being with your friends in a nice, relaxed atmosphere is basically what convention going's turned into for us. Yeah, that's the way it is. I wish
Really
my
cool.
camera was better. I keep flying by.
And from the business side of it, obviously, people like MaryLee, because of non-conventions, it's kind of hurting all around. I mean, the contacts, communication, the, collecting, I'm not collecting because there's nothing to collect. Hopefully that's all going to change for the future for next year or earlier, but go vaccine. That's cool. I mean, Stephanie and Steve and Paul, I tell you, this is the kind of thing that people need to hear. And it's from different sources, which is great because we have similar experiences, but when you're the hardcore collector collecting props or autographs and geeking out over your favorite shows or whatever is always the experience to expect. The good cautions were, bring money, make sure you bring that money because you will spend it, like Stephanie said, and Steve hit it right on the nose. The friends you're going to make, don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to ask questions. 9 times out of 10, your neighbor's going to know the answer you're looking for, just because you didn't find it yet or didn't research it yet or whatever. So,
Or they'll know the person who has the answer, which is also important.
Right. I can't tell you how many times Steve said, "Oh, did you see what's in the dealer's room?" And I must have walked by it, 40 times, and I'm like, "No, I didn't." And then I go run back, and I'm like, "Oh, I got what I wanted." So
it's all good.
Very helpful. Very helpful.
You must bring enough money.
I think that's the first thing I mentioned.
Yeah.
Money,
or a big credit card.
And number two is plan. Like Stephanie said, plan. Make sure you kind of get an idea of what you want to do and want to see, and then have a backup. You may not get into, Walking Dead, so you're a fan of Once Upon a Time. So be flexible a little bit, because you're not going to get everything you want or see everything you can. So, and we're talking like, probably not a problem at the smaller conventions, WhedonCon and, Gallifrey One, but, at Comic-Con, there's a, 95% chance you won't get into something or see something or,
Or Motor City, same thing. You got to plan.
So last year, that's such a great point. Last year, the lines at DragonCon, I was there 4 days and refused to stand in the line to get to the vendors. That's how bad it was. There were so many people, 70,000 plus. You could not get to the vendors room without an hour delay.
Wow.
To the vendors room. And the panels were like, I went to the scientist panels. I could usually get into those, and have made friends with the scientists. So yeah, patience, a lot of patience, water,
snacks,
get to know your friends,
energy
deodorant.
Snacks.
Make sure you have your deodorant.
Hey, good walking shoes.
Absolutely.
You're gonna need those. And it's funny you mentioned the lines. Comic-Con, they have preview night on Wednesday, which is the Wednesday before generally. And you might wait up to 4.5 hours to get into the dealer's room, which is why they call it previews night, just to get a first look at all the what do you call them? The exclusives?
Exclusives.
Yeah. So it's crazy, but that's the king of conventions. So little different at the smaller ones.
Yeah.
And easier, I think, but whatever. Well, guys, this was great. I really appreciate you guys spending the time. I learned a lot. I hope everybody watching learned a lot. You guys are amazing.
Thank you so much for sharing your time and
Thank you for the invite.
You're welcome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
If you have any questions or comments, I can get back to any of them. Put them down below. We got to do got to subscribe. Believe it's up here.
Yeah, and turn on the bell notification, subscribe,
ringy,
the like button.
And then you'll see different shows that we all do. MaryLee and I have this show, then there's a collectible show and unboxing. And again, it's all for you. So if you have any questions or comments, it's right there below. Again, thank you, Steve Kostka. Thank you, Stephanie Murphy. Thank you, Paul Harvath.
Harvath. Yeah.
I got it.
Even though it says Michelle here, it's actually it's
You know,
it's the technical day from hell here. That's for sure.
yeah, he had a little problem hooking up, and now he's in a time warp on the TARDIS, and he's going to fix that. Or you think it's maybe Stargate? Like,
I think everything. It's the interference between the two. They're pulling it in different directions.
The TARDIS and all that. So
yeah,
Definitely.
But thank you guys, and everybody. Thanks for watching. This was an excellent show, and well, obviously with wise and excellent guests. You know, how can we go wrong? So we will definitely see you next time. Thank you so much for coming. Live long.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.